name is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says,
"Oh, hey, you're a mom? That's fabulous." But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's the Channelmom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
I want to say hello to every mom who's listening today, and welcome to the Channelmom Show. This is your show where we celebrate you as a mom. It's kind of a party around here, isn't it, Shell?
It's a great party.
For moms,
yes.
Actually, no wine.
Join us.
No wine or beer. We're just being sober today. My name is Jenny Dean Schmidt. I am your host and a mother myself. We're here to honor and love on the moms. In fact, we really just want to meet moms where they're at to remind them of how important their job is and to equip them to do it even better. So today, we're going to help moms confront some of the issues that are coming to a screen near you. We'll tell you about some new media that could literally hurt children and destroy families. That is not a political statement. It's just the truth. It's a new TV show that our friends at NBC are putting out this fall, which is drawing harsh criticism from a group called 1 Million Moms. Some are calling it highly inappropriate and provocative, but we will let you decide if you think it's bad for you or your kids to watch or not. Then we'll look at what's now being said in the media about marriage. The founder of eHarmony is now warning people that maybe they should not get married because, frankly, marriage is getting less and less popular. So we will ask counselor Jamie Kirkbride what's going on with our marriages in America. But first, my commentary. This is the place where I remind moms of how important they are, no matter how unimportant they might feel as mothers sometimes. And my commentary is also about the media today. It's about a particular day that I literally started crying and yelling at the TV because of how it made me feel as a mom. Ever done it, Shell?
Oh, particularly when the clothes are being taken off.
Yeah.
I'm watching with my 14-year-old son.
Exactly. Yeah. I understand. It was a cold day in January. I had flipped on the TV in the morning, which I almost never do. It might have been that either one of our kids was sick or I was sick that day myself. So as I sat watching this vapid daytime TV show that has a name that rhymes with The Pew, this is what I witnessed. First, the 4 female hosts rolled out a handsome celebrity that they wiggled and cooed over, telling him just how fine they thought he looked and how important he was simply because he was a movie star. Then they covered a little story about which American cities have the thinnest people. And finally, there was a bit on how to buy your over-the-counter drugs for less. Well, then we go to commercial break. And this was the first time that I saw something that I felt might actually speak to mothers. It happened to be the Weight Watchers commercial, but it wasn't the weight loss pitch part that caught my attention. It was the theme song, which I think was actually sung by Cher. The song went something like this: "Don't give up, just hold on, you're worth it." As I sat there, I thought to myself, all right, if some mom is sitting in her house this morning, still wearing her sweats, not having had time to comb her hair or brush her teeth, but because she's nursing the baby, picking up cereal that the toddler spilled all over the kitchen, she wasn't going to get a lot of self-worth from the segment about the hot movie star. That wasn't going to make her feel great about herself. Nor was she going to get any encouragement by learning which city was the skinniest. It might have just made her feel overweight or out of shape. And finally, cheap drugs were not necessarily going to make her feel better. It wasn't until she would hear the jingle on the commercial that told her not to give up and to hang on, that point that she might finally feel like somebody in television understood her life. Whether you're a working mom or somebody who stays at home, you know what I mean by that. I immediately thought to myself, this was the case that with so many TV shows. I know there are a few exceptions in that many moms loved Oprah when she was on, but I would argue that most shows do not really care a whole lot about giving moms good stuff for their personal enrichment. Really, they don't care much about speaking to moms at all until it's time to sell the soap. Then they care a whole lot about moms. The advertising people care about moms because they know moms do most of the household purchasing. So they work very hard to make moms feel like they understand them. So those moms will turn around and then buy their products. I'm truly not putting down advertisers here, by the way. Our show relies on companies who advertise. What I'm saying is, it is pathetic that moms get most of their love and encouragement from the commercials. instead of the shows. And I want you to take a look. The next time you watch television, just think about what I'm saying. Moms are heroines in commercials about Band-Aids and laundry detergent. They just look lovely and wonderful, and they're helping everybody, and their makeup's just right, and they're just wonderful people, but not so much when the TV shows come on. And this, I find, a great travesty for mothers. And so I want to change that. You get it, Shell?
Well, I don't know why they have so many viewers then. I mean, why aren't moms just saying, forget this?
Because it's all they
do something
got.
else.
It's all they got. And they sure do have their favorite shows. I mean, obviously there's some shows out there that moms love. But I'm just saying, if they really thought about it, even the like sitcoms and stuff, they put down mothers and parents and make them look like fools and so on and so forth.
It's too bad advertisers don't think about it.
Yeah, well, advertisers do think about trying to make the moms feel good about themselves.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I've noticed. So now, the news.
If you're tired of the same old news,
What more do you want? I want the truth.
You're hearing it. Strap yourselves in, folks.
never fear.
What's the dealio?
Part of life is learning to let things go.
We've got news moms can use.
What was that name again? I missed that.
News moms can use.
In the news this week, we got the latest stories, and we picked them based on what we think moms want or need to hear. We'll start with a story about marriage and why it's less popular than ever in America's recorded history. AOL recently carried a news article about the founder of eHarmony, I referred to at the open. The founder of eHarmony was essentially warning people that it might not be good to get married anymore, depending on where you're at. eHarmony's founder, who is Dr. Neil Clark Warren, claims shocking new statistics released by the U.S. Census Bureau suggest that Americans may no longer need marriage. For the first time ever, fewer than half the households in the U.S. are married couples. That's a record.
But they're living like they're married.
They are, and we're about to get to that. In the past decade, the number of unmarried couples has increased by 25% as more people choose to cohabitate. And the Pew Research Center claims an increasing number of Americans now believe marriage is becoming obsolete. They certainly do in Hollywood. I was listening to the radio on the way in, and half the couples in Hollywood don't believe in marriage anymore, so they're quote-unquote cohabitating. No judgment here. I'm just stating the facts. This is a dangerous conclusion, according to Dr. Warren, who is also a clinical psychologist, the conclusion that marriage is becoming obsolete. And now, strangely enough, he's warning people that maybe they shouldn't get married anymore, but he also is concerned for the sanctity of marriage. So let me go on. Even though Warren suggests that some people should not marry and enter into something unhealthy, he still believes that marriage is a vital part of our society. He even cites the National Marriage Project, which recently issued an annual report finding that more than 3/4 of Americans still believe that marriage is important, and more than 70% of adults under 30 desire to marry someday. So Warren admits it's clear that a majority of us still crave to be married, and he adds that when it's done right, marriage can be the greatest institution on earth. But, Warren says, it's frighteningly easy to choose the wrong person. And this is where his concern comes in. I think this is where his warning comes in, to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't get married. Ugh, it's just so sad. But anyway, he notes that when people choose a partner unwisely, it's a source of enormous eventual pain, sometimes for the rest of their lives. And that over his 35-year clinical career, he has presided over the divorces of several hundred couples. He talks about the deep wounds impacted on both the parents and the children, and refers to research that shows that parental divorce or failure to even ever get married appears to increase a child's risk of dropping out of high school. Moreover, children whose parents divorce have higher rates of psychological problems and other mental illnesses, and ultimately divorce begets divorce. You know, when you grow up outside of an intact marriage, you have a greater likelihood of having children outside of marriage yourself or getting a divorce yourself. Warren ends his whole article by saying that broad-based compatibility, not hard work, is the best determiner of a good marriage. Now, ironically, and probably not by coincidence, that's exactly what eHarmony does, I believe. They find your broad-based compatibility. So I don't want to accuse him of just doing a big advertisement for why you need eHarmony, but the final conclusion was that's what determines whether or not you're going to have a good marriage. So,
You know, it's going to take a lifetime. I don't know if picking that person based on personality is going to last for 20 years or whatever he wants it to work for.
Right, and I think that's, I didn't read the whole article, but I mean, I didn't read it all to the viewers today, but I think that in some place he says, yes, it is an over. People don't understand when they commit to the sort of passion and the attraction and all that comes out initially, that eventually it's going to be a long-term friendship, partnership, dedication, that perhaps we've lost the value of those things,
It's funny that that's his angle. I mean, that's his job, is to pair up people together, but yet he's saying...
I know, but he's saying that if you have a good, what does he call it, broad-based compatibility, then your marriage could probably
So come to us first. It's an arranged marriage, really.
Yeah, it is. It is. And apparently that has worked over in the East for many hundreds of years. Exactly. And you know what? I just want to say, I hope you don't mind, that your parents got divorced and you don't appear to have mental problems and all those things that they said you're more likely to have, and you're happily married, so you didn't get divorced yourself.
That's true. I think about it, though. I'm 5 years away from beating my parents.
Oh.
They were married for 24 years. I'm going on 19.
Yeah.
So I think about it still today.
Sure. Well, I'll pray for you on that. You make it past them. All right, finally in the news today, a study finds that whining has been found to be the most distracting of noises.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, they didn't need to do a study.
No.
They probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on the study, but any mom could have told you that. When matched up against a range of other annoying sounds, whining reigned victorious as the most distracting. Now, this is how they found that out. The study found that participants made more mistakes while doing subtraction problems if they were listening to whining versus a number of other sounds. But apparently whining distracted them more than...
That's objective. That's an objective.
Apparently, yeah. And one of the study's authors told the Today Show that the creative point of whining, I think she called it the evolutionary point of whining, but the creator, when he created whining, I guess if God created whining, may have done it because it's difficult to ignore. And that apparently kids might need something when they're whining, and an adult just can't be distracted. So the child's going to at least get some attention if perhaps they need it. Their tummy hurts or whatever it is. Now, granted, kids whine far too often, probably at times when they don't need to, and I know you don't allow it in your house. But
which it's my fault. If they're whining, then I reinforced the whining. So ultimately, it's my fault.
What, that they continue to whine?
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, or all of us. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All righty. Thanks, Shell, for all your input today. You are listening to the Channelmom Show, where we are celebrating you on Mile High Sports Radio, AM 1510, FM 93.7. I am your host, Jenny Dean Schmidt. You can also watch us all during the week on channelmom.com, or come chat with us about today's show or upcoming shows, things that you would like to see on facebook.com/channelmom. We really do want to hear from you, and we're going to start taking your tips and so on and use them on the show. Now, coming up, we're going to bring you some controversy. We are going to look at a new TV show coming up on NBC, but before that, we're going to talk about this marriage issue, because I think it's really important. And marriage counselor Jamie Kirkbride is going to join us and tell us what she thinks about that. I'm really looking forward to that. So if you're married, or you've been married, or you're planning to get married, stick around. We'll discuss the marriage situation in America and some possible solutions for folks who are struggling in their marriages.